Under no circumstances should anyone be subjected to sexual harassment or sexual assault regardless of race, gender, or age. This is the letter that the accuser of Tupac Shakur, Ayanna Jackson, wrote to Vibe magazine in June 1995 regarding the incident that transpired between her and Tupac Shakur. And this is also corresponding to the thing she said in the interview, and also where there are some points in the first interview about the night she met him where the interviewer brought up what she said in the letter. And this is the exact letter that he was referring to in Vibe magazine. And I have a copy of the letter right here. And this is from a book about Tupac Shakur, a collection of all the interviews he did with Vibe magazine and anything else related to him that appeared in Vibe magazine throughout his lifetime. So she says, I am the young woman that was sexually assaulted by Tupac Shakur. And this is what she says in the letter about how she met Tupac Shakur. A friend of mine took me to Nails where he introduced me to Nigel and Trevor. And once again, Nigel and h.jack are the same people, according to what she stated in her interview. So, Nigel and Trevor, who later introduced me to their friend Tupac. When I first met Tupac, he kissed me on my cheek and made small talk with me. After a while, she said she excused herself and started to walk to the dance floor. When I felt someone slide their hands into the back pocket of my jeans, I turned around, assuming it was my friend, but was shocked when I discovered it was Tupac. Then she says that, they danced for a while and everything. Then she says, due to the small dance floor and large number of people, we were shoved into a dark corner. Tupac's version says that she pulled him into a dark corner. Just noting the differences in both of their respective accounts of what took place. And then she says, Tupac pulled his shirt up and took her hand and put it on his chest. Then she says he traced it down his chest and set it on top of his erect penis. He then kissed me and pushed my head down on his penis. And in a brief 3-second encounter, my lips touched the head of his penis. This happened so suddenly that once I realized what he was trying to do, I swiftly brought my head up. I must reiterate that I did not suck his penis on the dance floor. He pulled his shirt back down and asked me what I was doing later. I told him that I was going home, etc., because she had some things to do. Then she said as people started surrounding him again, he grabbed her arm and he stated, "Let's get out of here. I'm tired of people stressing me." We exited Nails and got into a white BMW and pulled up at the Parker Meridian and went to his suite. So this is a part of the first interview that she did where the interviewer asked her what happened at the hotel. And she stated that basically they just chilled or whatever. And this is exactly the part of her letter that he brought up, because she stated, "We conversed and he rolled some blunts." And also, everyone knows, well, according to this letter and Tupac, everyone knows that they had sex that night, but in the interview, it seems like she was waiting for him to ask her instead of when he said what happened at the hotel, instead of her just going on and saying it. So here she says, we conversed and he rolled up some blunts. We started kissing. Then we had oral and vaginal sexual intercourse several times. In Tupac's account, he stated that they had sex. Let me go back. He stated that they had the first night. He says we go upstairs and have sex real quick. As soon as I came, that was it. I was tired. I was drunk. I knew I had to get up early in the morning. That's his direct quote verbatim. We go upstairs and have sex real quick. As soon as I came, that was it. I was tired. I was drunk. Her version is we started kissing and then we had oral and vaginal sexual intercourse several times. Okay. So she then says that he called my house a couple of nights later, and etc., etc. And fast forward to that evening after work, I paged him, and his road manager called me back. And I guess she's referring to Charles Fuller or Nigel. Yeah, because in Tupac's account, Nigel was saying, why don't you give her a call? And then Nigel states, and Nigel is the same person as h.jack. I called her. She called me, and she's on her way. So, she says that he informed me that Pac really wanted to see me, and he had a show to do in Jersey, so I should call a car service and take it to the Meridian, and he would pay for the cab. Once I got to the hotel, I met Charles Fuller for the first time. So this is where Charles Fuller comes in. So I don't know if, not that it makes a difference, but I don't know if she was actually on the phone with Nigel and then Charles met her, or if it was actually Charles on the phone, but that part is not really important. So Charles, she stated that this is when she met Charles Fuller for the first time. He paid for the cab and led me upstairs. Inside the suite was Tupac, Nigel, and Trevor were seated in the living room, smoking weed and drinking Absolute. Tupac told me to come in and pointed to the arm of the sofa near him. I sat down. After about 20 minutes, Tupac took my hand and led me into the bedroom in the suite. He fell into the bed and asked me to give him a massage. So she says so I massaged his back. He turned around and I started to massage his chest. She states that just as they began kissing, the door opened and she heard some people entering. Then she states, as I turned to see who it was, Tupac grabbed my head and told me, don't move. I looked down and he said, don't worry, baby. These are my brothers and they ain't going to hurt you. We do everything together. She stated that she started to shake her head and said, no, Pac, I came here to be with you. I came here to see you. I don't want to do this. She also stated that she started to rise up off the bed, but he brutally slammed her head down. She says my lips and face came crashing down hard onto his penis. He squeezed the back of my neck and I started to gag. Now this is where the major discrepancies come in. So in the letter she continues to say, Tupac and Nigel held me down while Trevor forced his penis into my mouth. Then she says she felt that her clothes were being torn off. She says, I couldn't move. I felt paralyzed, trapped, and I started to black out. She was saying that they were leering at her body and saying things about her body, as Tupac stated in his account. Then she said, while they laughed and joked to one another, Nigel, Trevor, and Fuller held me in the room, trying to calm me down. They would not allow me to leave. Then she goes on to say, finally I got to the elevator, which had a panel of mirrors. Once I caught sight of myself, I sank down on the floor and started to cry. They came out, picked me up, and brought me back into the suite. Tupac was lying on the couch. In my mind, I'm thinking, this motherfucker just raped me, and he's lying here like a king, acting as if nothing happened. So I began crying hysterically and shouting, how could you do this to me? I came here to see you. I can't believe you did this to me. Tupac replied, I don't have time for this shit. Get this bitch out of here. So then she goes on to say, the aforementioned is the true story. It was not a setup, and I never knew any of the people he was hanging with. Tupac knows exactly what he did to me. And then she also says, I admit I did not make the wisest decisions, but I did not deserve to be gang raped. And that was the end of her letter. So let's talk about the discrepancies. In the video, at approximately 10 minutes and 40 seconds, she states, Tupac got up, then he left. And in this letter, she just stated that Tupac and Nigel held me down while Trevor forced himself on her. At approximately 14 minutes and 2 seconds, when the interviewer asked, at approximately 14 minutes and 2 seconds, she states, I don't even know who he was. So the interviewer says, was that Trevor possibly? And she states, could have been Trevor. It could have been. Going back to her letter, once again, she says that while Tupac and Nigel held her down, Trevor was forcing his penis into her mouth. And that's a major discrepancy. So that's just a major discrepancy from what she said in the letter to saying could have been Trevor. It could have been, because at the bottom of the letter, once again, she said the aforementioned is a true story. Also, at 14 minutes and 55 seconds, she states that Fuller was like, I'm not going to touch you. And in this letter, she states that Charles Fuller held me in the room trying to calm me down. They would not allow me to leave. Right here it says, while they laughed and joked to one another, Nigel / h.jack, Trevor, and Fuller held me in the room, trying to calm me down. They would not allow me to leave. So there are some discrepancies in her actual story that she said in the interview and what she wrote in her letter. Like I said, something definitely happened, and I think the issue is who exactly is at fault. The only thing I can say is the only people who ever truly will know are the people who were present in that room that night. There are some discrepancies, and I wanted to, for people who weren't around at that time, get out Tupac's side of the story and also her original story that she told back in the day, which apparently she did not read before she did this interview, but that is between the parties involved.